Having been raised in nerd culture, it's affected every aspect of my life, from social to personal, pretty much anything you can think of. We're actually going to be discussing how it affects people's lives socially, how it affects the circles they associate with, and how it affects them personally as well on State of the Multiverse. So I was actually raised in what you would call nerd culture. From the time I was very, very small to now, I've been going to conventions, I've been going to different nerdy events, I've been, playing video games, doing tabletop gaming, reading comic books, watching movies, the whole shebang. And it has influenced every aspect of my life. Who I become friends with, who I talk to, how I talk to people, how I express myself, just pretty much everything. And so what we're actually talking about today is how nerd culture has affected our actual social lives and pretty much how we interact with other people. So how has it affected you guys?
I feel like it's very hard for me to be friends with somebody who's not a nerd. Like, I feel like even though I do things that aren't nerdy, like for example, I'm a musician, but like if I talk to musicians who aren't geeks, I kind of feel like I don't have that much in common with them. Yeah. So it's kind of weird for me to socialize.
I don't know if any of you guys have worked in like the restaurant business or anything, but like you come in and there's already like, it's usually really cliquey anyway. And I find myself making jokes that fall flat and nobody laughs, and I'm just sitting there like, I know I'm funny.
I do that
I am
all the time.
I am hilarious, and all of you suck. And you didn't get that Doctor Who reference. Whatever.
I have been there.
I don't want to be friends
I've been there
with
more
you.
probably with science type stuff than anything else, but I'm a little bit more of a social chameleon, so I definitely have lots of non-geeky friends, but I can absolutely get the point of like not having someone understand what you're saying and relating. So
You're a rare commodity.
I'm a rare commodity.
Rare commodity. Personally,
Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
You should be sorry. Anyway,
Whatever.
No, I'm really similar. I'm super adaptable, and like most of my family isn't really like geeky or nerdy or anything like that. I grew up kind of being the one who was. Even my older brothers, like, they weren't as geeky as me.
That's unusual.
Yeah, I mean, like they introduced me to it, but
right.
I took it a step further. But
Took it off.
But I do have those really awkward moments, and I was gonna say something on that point, and Ariana just kicked it out of my brain.
Well, I was going to say that I
apologies.
probably have like the opposite experience like with you guys is I actually did have geeky / nerdy friends growing up, and I was just like, I am not interested in that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Like, no thank you.
Came
you guys
to the
can
dark
do
side
that.
later on.
I came to the dark side later. I was actually a vampire.
Oh,
That brought me over was...
like legitimately like in the vampire culture?
No,
Or should I ask? Is this a secret?
I don't bite people, and then like no, I don't think I'm a vampire. No, like Vampire the Masquerade. The game.
God, right. That was
yeah,
one of the
yeah.
first things.
Yeah, and so
I think
I
that
had
was the first RPG, like actual like LARPing kind of game I
I
ever
was
played.
I did it in a chat
tabletop
room on
for me.
MSN.
Yeah, for
That's
me
what
it
I
was
did.
tabletop, but I had a friend since I was like 7 years old that had been trying to get me to tabletop, and I'm like, that is so dorky. I don't want anything to do with that.
I thought the same thing, and actually recently, my boyfriend has gotten me into this game called GURPS, and I cannot remember what it stands for, but basically you're creating your own like role-playing
World,
character,
yeah.
and then, and you just play the character, and it's awesome because you can be whoever you want to be, and I think that's a big thing for me. Like, I like being other people.
So I was gonna say, like, with that point, what we were saying, like being adaptable and like how it affects like the life. It's really neat. This is kind of why I like the evolution of geeks, where people become more geeky. Like, it's become more widespread, so it's become easier to kind of relate to a widespread amount of people. But normally, I mean, like, it's even like stuff I geek out about a lot is like television and movies, and that's super easy to find common ground with people.
I think it's had the opposite effect for me. Being raised in it and everything, I find myself to be extraordinarily socially awkward. As much as like most people are surprised when I say that, but I'm really shy. I have a really hard time talking to new people. I mean, unless they have something in common with me, like some nerdy thing that we can
You need
like
that thread of
joke about. There
commonality.
has to be
Right.
something there.
Yeah.
I'm not good at just going, "Hey, hi, I'm Ariana. Nice to meet you." I
Do you
can't
want
do
to,
that.
though?
I do, but I
do?
can't bring myself to do it. I get really nervous, and I'm like, "Oh no!" It doesn't work for me, like at all.
I know when I grew up in Montana, and at that time, anime was still really new. Like, not new, because, you know, we had older stuff like Thundercats and Speed Racer and stuff, but it was just really starting to catch on. That was when people were still calling it Japanimation, to kind of reveal my age a little bit. But there were not that many people that were really into anime, so it was just kind of like me and one of my friends that really knew what that was, and like I was really the only person I knew that was really into video games. Like, I had a couple other girlfriends that kind of were into it casually, but I just always felt like I kind of had to hide that part of me, like I should be ashamed of it or something. And I feel like that still kind of carries on to this day. Like, if I go to a party or something and there are people that I don't know, like, I don't go, "Oh, I'm a geek, I love Doctor Who, I love Final Fantasy." Like, I don't just throw it out there. Like,
I do it in like sections.
Feel it out a little bit.
I have sections of things that I would reveal about myself, and I have sections that I wouldn't. Like, at work, I definitely wouldn't talk about the role.
I don't do anything at work.
But like, I am a history nerd, and I will like nerd out about history. I'm like, I don't care. Like, if you're not intelligent to know, then that's your problem. But so
I think part of why we don't like reveal ourselves to new people is we don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot from like I guess you could say the outside world.
You know, I have zero problem with all of this that you guys are talking about. I was like, you did that little impression. I was like, that's uncanny. Like, that's what I go.
Is that what you do?
With Final Fantasy. I do a lot, and I don't have a problem with it because it almost immediately like weeds out people who don't want anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised how many other people are hiding their nerd flag.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I found friendships. Like, one of my longest lasting friendships was in orchestra, and I just like randomly asked. I was randomly talking about Buffy, and this boy came up and he was like, "I love Buffy." And he's one of my closest friends for years and years in 8th grade. You know, so it's like, but we never would have been friends if there wasn't some like strange commonality. Speaking on the nerd flag, what I wanted to ask you ladies is, how do you feel now? Like, how high do you wave your nerd flag?
Well, at work, my flag is buried underneath the ground, like 6 layers under concrete. But then I get out of work, and it's like, all I do are nerdy things. I don't really think I do anything normal. Like, I think 95% of what I do is nerd.
I find myself questioning a lot what, like, normal is. Because, like you said, all of the stuff I do, like, is nerdy. And I don't even know what a normal quote-unquote person does with their day. I don't understand how they go through their day without watching an episode of Doctor Who, or playing a video game, or reading a comic or something, or talking to someone, just nerding out with somebody. That's all I do. I feel
really similar on that level. Like, I feel like I wouldn't know what life would be like without it, and that's probably why I'm so open. Like, when I meet people, I have no problem admitting that,
it's
like,
just my social
I love comic
awkwardness.
books and...
To jump in to answer your question, for me, it is like definitely much more now than before, and I think part of that has to do with I've moved into a career where I work with a lot more creative people. So, and I also I think don't care as much about people's opinions as I did before. So, like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps a lot.
I still don't care, but
so it affects our lives. It affects our lives greatly, like professionally and personally. If you want to go ahead and tell us how being a nerd has affected your life. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you hide it? What is it to you? Just comment below, and make sure to subscribe to our videos.